Look, my picture's in the background.
Nothing's perfect in this world, man. So now you know that the better.
I am live. Welcome to our YouTube audience. Welcome, welcome, welcome. And welcome to our Facebook Live audience. My equipment is really on holiday tonight. So so I hope that we can just have a wonderful conversation today whilst the equipment has gone a little bit out of order. And I'm just going to be real with you. Um, as I am still trying to position myself and the different cameras are doing different things. So this is where we are. So you are with Prudence, your marketplace motivator, talking to you about winning in the marketplace. So tonight we are live and we're just going to have a wonderful chat about Christmas, the Christmas holidays, and what you are planning to do for Christmas. What are you doing? Where are you going? How was the year? And how was it for you? How was it for you? 2021 has been an extremely unprecedented year with with very different challenges. And as we are coming to the end of the year, I am happy to say I'm here and I'm so grateful. I am really, really grateful that I've been able to, make it through the year, that God has been so faithful, that I am seeing how the different things during the year has challenged me. It must be here. How the different things in the year has challenged me and how the different challenges have developed me in terms of patience, in terms of strength, in terms of how I show up, in terms of the things that I've been able to achieve, and in terms of the person I have become as a result of it. So I think there is something, in the title of Michelle Obama's book, Becoming. Because when we look at the process of when certain things are happening to us, we become someone different. We go through the process, we go on a journey, and at the end of that journey, you're actually someone different. You've grown up in different instances, but you have also become someone who can look back at yourself and say, I would have done things so differently if I was the same person that I was before. So that is it. You are with your host, Prudence, Marketplace Motivator, and we're talking today about just having a nice, chillaxing talk about the Christmas holidays and what you've got planned for the holidays. So I'd like you to give a shout out. Let us know who's online. Welcome to everybody on YouTube. Welcome to everybody on Facebook Live at the International Marketplace Summit. It's our marketplace group, and it is the time of the year when we are trying to close down our laptops. We're trying to get the projects done. We're trying to close things up, and we are just trying to get out and go on holiday. And I must tell you, I'm going to tell you a little bit about myself, because I have been battling to get to this very place where I'm actually thinking I am signing off. I am putting up the sign. When you send me an email, I am out. I'm out until the 10th of January. Yes, I think all those people who said the 3rd of January, I think you can just give yourself another week. You deserve it, girl. You deserve it, Mr. Handsome out there. So give yourself another week and go back to work on the 10th. Yeah, I'm just saying it just like that. So for those who are joining us, yes, we are live on the International Marketplace Summit page. We also, you can also see me. We have shared the link, I trust, on Prudence Michumi. And then we're also live on my personal YouTube channel, which is Prudence Michumi again. And I am just having a nice chat with you about the Christmas holidays, about where you are at the moment, what you're doing at the moment, and telling us and sharing with the viewers and the audience what you plan to do with the holidays or during this holiday. So we are waiting for people to log on. So as I said, give me a shout out so I know who's on the line. So let's hear where people are from. If you give me a comment, let me know who's there so we can have a nice talk tonight. And yes, I am armed with my coffee. But in the holidays, I will be having some pink drinks, and I'm looking forward to that. So yeah, let's give it a shout out. Who is on the line? Let us know who's there while I'm having a sip of my coffee. I'm waiting to hear who's online tonight, and I'm excited that you're here. So let's hear who's online. Who has joined us tonight? Who has joined us tonight? Ah, wonderful. Hair Goals Organic. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Welcome. Thank you for being here again tonight. We are going to have a wonderful chat. And so I'm glad that you made it again today. And I hope that you've been able to close offers and you are also getting ready to enjoy the Christmas holidays. Or maybe you're ramping up. You know, some people's businesses are seasonal. So there's lots happening during the holidays and they have to be out here. Like I am on my way out on holiday tomorrow. So let's hear who else is on the line with us today, having this chat about what are we doing during the Christmas and the holiday break. What are we doing during the Christmas and the holiday break? Yeah, Candace, welcome. Candace is from the US. Welcome, welcome. I'm wondering what time is it for you, Candace? So welcome to have this chat with us tonight. We are talking about what are we doing during the Christmas holidays. So I'm delighted that you could join us again tonight, and we are just talking. Just really, it's chillaxing. It's literally let us just reflect on the year. Let us think about what has been happening during the course of the year, what has happened to us during the course of the year, and as I said earlier, it's about becoming. Lunchtime. Oh wow. It's lunchtime in the US. It is here. It's 7 o'clock, as you know. So yeah, so we're thinking about the year, we're reflecting over the year, and I want us to reflect. And I was saying earlier, when you are reflecting, you are actually looking back and thinking, what have I become through the process or the journey of this year? So let us get into our topic tonight, and we're talking about looking at 2021. 2021 has thrown us a couple of surprises, I must tell you. Um, People are still going through the most. That's what I call it. People are going through the most. And I must tell you, I've been seeing flames, flames, flames this year. So I've become someone I can look back at and say, I've really grown in these areas. I've stretched in certain areas. And we can think about ourselves. And as I go towards Christmas this year, I'm going really wired differently. I'm going through Christmas this year thinking about, what are some of the things that I mustn't lose? What are some of the lessons that I've learned during the course of this year that I mustn't lose as I go forward? Because there will be a time when there's no COVID, right? There will be a time, and we're looking forward to that time when there's no pandemic hanging over our heads, when we are not wearing masks. I'm just going to pause then, Selah, about the issue of masks. But we are looking forward to that time. But now, whilst we're here where we are, it's a good time to reflect. It's a good time to think back. It's a good time to just think about how we've grown, how we've changed, how we've done things differently. Have we tried to stay the same? We've heard a lot about new normal, so there's a lot of vocabulary that has developed during this time of COVID and lockdown, and countries are doing different things around Christmas periods because people are going out and meeting more people, and we know in different countries are doing different things. So we want to just consider that and talk about that tonight, about how are we going into this Christmas holidays, what has been happening to you in 2021, and are you just thinking, oh my goodness, show me the beach, show me which direction, and I am off out of town. And I'm thinking about that. I am in Joburg, and I'm thinking, goodness, I just want to see some expansion of water. So I would have been lovely to go to a beach, but I'm not going to a beach location tomorrow. But tomorrow I'm also shutting down the laptop, which I did today. And I'm off going to spend some time just resting, reflecting, just unwinding. And I think it's going to take probably a couple of days just to unwind, because this year, when we are high stress projects, one thing after another, and then on top of that, we have remembering about your mask all the time. What is, social distancing, sanitizing all the time. So we've had a whole different way of life developed in this time of COVID. And so we always have to remember that as well. And I think if we're honest with ourselves, it has taken a toll on a lot of us. Imagine the young people, the teenagers, what are they doing? They want to go out with their friends, they want to connect with their friends. And that was an interesting thing that happened this year. about children. So when the small kids went back to school, because children went back in phases to school, it's like how are the teachers going to help them to refrain from hugging one another, to refrain from speaking to their friends, to refrain from being very close and taking off their masks on the playground. That was a whole new way of life that they had to develop. So how did the children do? What can you tell us about your observation about your children and how they've handled this period of 2021 and COVID and lockdown, and how they come through it? Because children, again, on the other hand, very resilient, so they know how to get through stuff. And I know that, children can be in families that where there's very challenging times experience, but children have a way of bouncing back, and we just really have to thank God that He's wired them that way. Children can live in homes where there are horrific things happening in those homes, but children are resilient, and some of them come through that experience, and with the building blocks, foundation pieces that they use for the rest of their life, and they become better people as a result of it. Whilst we do know that some people find it more challenging to bounce back from things like that. But I just want to talk about and consider the fact that our children have had a very tough year at school. In fact, my son had to change schools quite late in the year, and must have been very, very challenging. So, how have our children been coping with this new normal, this new way of life, and how are they going forward? And I know one of the things that my son particularly missed was the youth, because he goes to youth every Friday evening. So for the longest time, they had to do youth online, and so they couldn't connect with their friends. And so, yeah, so what do you do? How did they improvise? What did you see the children doing? Did they do something different? Did it bring out their creativity? Or did it mean more family time, where you actually have to spend more time with your family in family settings, playing games with your kids on Fridays, connecting? So it also gave us the time of connecting, instead of sometimes the normal way we used to live is I'm upstairs, my son is downstairs, he's downstairs, I'm upstairs. We are just living in different parts of the house. And because he wants to watch something different and I want to watch something different, instead of let's negotiate and actually agree on watching the same thing. So yeah, I see your comment, Candice. So let's just, let's do something different in our family. Instead of everybody watching the same thing, let the thing that they want to watch, let us start to watch the same thing as a family. Let's start playing some family games. Let's see that competitive spirit coming out, because we want to do something different. And that, I think, is really one of the key things and building blocks that I think God has given us during this time of COVID, to build the family unit. Absolutely, absolutely. To build the family unit. And I think even now, as we're going on holiday again, it's a time to connect with your family. And so many family members are not there anymore. And so, really, to be grateful for those who are, and try to connect. Especially last week, we talked about those difficult family relationships that we have with some of the people in our families. So, how can we connect with those, with our siblings, with our aunts and uncles, especially the ones we call difficult or they call us difficult? Is there something extra that we can do to connect with them? So Candace is sharing with us, she's driving to Canada for a change of scenery. Oh, lovely. It's been hard and very isolating for my children. I know. I don't know how people did it with small children, because for the teenagers it was hard enough. This new normal, this new way of, are they homeschooling or are they being schooled from home? There was a time when the lines were very blurred, because one time homeschooling is where you as the parent take the responsibility in educating them there. But schooling from home means you've just changed the location. They would rather go to school, but they can't because of lockdown. So it has taken a toll on the children. And I was wondering, especially parents with smaller kids who actually were working from home, and every 30 minutes you have to pay attention to those kids. How did you work through that? That must have been something else. Yeah. You can't see your teacher's face. The upside is we have much more family time together, which I'm grateful for, especially having teenagers. Yeah. One of the things, Candace, that I would share with you was quite interesting, because I think it was an American politician, and she shared that when her children were small, she was at work, and when her child, in fact, it was a son, when he was older, she took time off to spend with him. And she did exactly the opposite of what most of us do. She said, when my child was young, a toddler, a child, I was working. But when my child turned 17, I took time out and I started spending time with him. And I was like, that's interesting. That's normally not what we do. We take time off from birth to like 2 years old if you're going to stay home with your child and then you go back. But I have now a teenager who's at that age, and I'm thinking, so much wisdom, because so much then happens. It's about defining their identity. It's about them and their friends and what kind of friends they hang around with. It's about what are they going to do and study in life, what are they going to do next. It's about the pressures of parents and what we want them to do, and subject choices, and technology and all of that. So I can now really really see the wisdom of taking time out now, instead of having taken time out when your child was 2 years old, where you can have some interim help with their parent, with your parenting, with people looking after them. In fact, um, babysitting for you. And a 17-year-old, they want to scratch your brain, they want to hear. Or if you're very absent, then you see all the challenges with the rebellion coming out and all those other things, where they would more relate with their friends than rather with their parent. So yeah, so it was very wise. I really I when I heard it, it was interesting, but later on I really could see the wisdom in that. Yeah. So now we've talked about the kids. So let's talk about the parents. What have we done differently? So if we were, what did we do? Singles out there, what did you do Friday nights? What did you do Saturday nights? If you were somebody who was going out, who used to go out, married people, what did you do on your Fridays and Saturdays? How did you keep yourself entertained and not slipping into that slippery slope of boredom? So what did you do differently in terms of your entertainment, and what did you do with your Friday nights and your Saturday nights? So it's things to think about. So let's come and share. So let us know, what were you doing? Were you playing games? Were you spending more time with each other? Were you have music? I remember last year my children, it was my birthday in the thick of, in fact, last year when the lockdown happened, my birthday was, I think, 2 weeks into the lockdown. So it was very new and we didn't know what to do. And so they did sort of an in-house picnic for me. Beautiful cake, birthday cake they bought. But we sat inside, got a blanket on the floor in our formal lounge, and there we sat and we had a jolly good time, played music, just had a wonderful, wonderful time. So these are some of the questions that we're asking you, because of the new normal that we're living in. What have you done? What other parts of yourself have you tapped into in order to just stay abreast of things, in order to stay connected with people, or in order just to adjust your life, not to slip into that place where you are in this dark mood? And I remember I lived in the UK for a long time, and they used to talk to us about when your mental state, when you are, because there you have winter for 9 months and it's dark for most of 9 months of the year, and eventually if you're not careful, you're wearing gray clothes, you're wearing navies, you're wearing blacks, because your mood is really really down, as a result of the weather. So we're asking about, what is it that you've done differently during the course of this year? How did you keep yourself entertained? What are the new creative things that you've done? And I'm going to share with you. I know I'm the marketplace motivator. I talked about we're just chillaxing and having an easy conversation, but I'm going to share a book with you that I've read, which was for me my top of my top 10 is the number one book that I want to share with you, and all of the nuggets, golden nuggets that I got from that book. So let's see what Dudun Tul is saying. Dudu is saying this year and last year was tricky for me. Single as I am, I became a homebody. Really? A lot of us fell into that trap, Dudu. So you're not alone, absolutely. But what we want to know is, so what did you do? How did you keep yourself busy? How did you keep on Friday nights? What did you do? On Saturday nights, what you do? And what does a homebody actually mean? Were you sitting on the couch with your pajamas? Did you go through soapy after soapy? Or did you read through your Bible, something interesting? Did you read through a devotional, something interesting? What exactly did you do? What is a homebody? And now, has anything changed, or are you still very much in that same routine where you're home Friday night, Saturday nights, or has the churches opened? And I was saying that church should open, so, and singles should be meeting at church, right? Singles should be meeting at church. There should be coffee shops at the church where we can go and mingle and just tap into each other and have good conversations after a whole week of projects and deadlines and timelines, and so many things that are supposed to be happening. So this is really the time where we are saying we want to just share with others, how did we survive 2021. Did I say survive? Oh, I mean thrive in 2021. So Candace says we were fortunate not to have lockdowns here, so it felt more normal once I stopped taking 2 hours to disinfect my groceries. Yeah, so I was fighting the whole buying my groceries online, and later on, that was one of the adjustments that wanted to make you have to swing with technology and just see it's a lifestyle, and it's something that's actually making us to, there's many things that are of benefit to us. Um, um, Being able to do certain things online, but I have had this phrase that I've coined this year that says many people went online with church but offline with God. Because I think in terms of our faith, we've become very casual in the way that we are expressing our faith or connecting with other believers. And I think that for me is one of the big ticket items for this year, is for each one of us to reflect in terms of how do we express our faith, and what is it that we've been able to do in terms of staying connected. Because I think the Bible says, do not forsake the gathering together of the saints. So while under these difficult circumstances of COVID and lockdown and regulations and wanting to be compliant with all of these rules, how did you stay connected with others? Because it's still required. How did you stay? Did you go to church when it was just 50 people? Because I remember in our church at some point we had to, by Thursday. If you didn't say you're coming to church by Thursday, you were not able to go to church at all because the list would be full. And I remember there was some time when the 50 started, and the pastor was saying we actually cannot open the church because 50 people is just the pastors, their families, and the musicians and the photographers, and that's 50. So all of us couldn't come to church. So how did you manage to navigate through this time of staying connected spiritually whilst we are doing COVID and we are doing, we are going through lockdown and we're going through the new normal of how we have to live our lives differently? So what happened for you there? And yeah, and I guess I can say lie here for quite a bit. As I said, online with church, offline with God. What does that mean? Some of us started we started with really having good online services. You're in front of the laptop, you're sitting there, you're paying attention, you've got your Bible. And then I think 18 months later, we are in our pajamas. We are not paying so much attention. We're going to the fridge in the middle of the service. We are doing all manner of things. And that's what I mean by online with church, offline with God, that it really became like, it's just that tick box exercise where I'm just like, we're walking around, we're eating, we're talking, and now we're watching the movie of church instead of being there to worship God. Did I say the movie of church? I said the movie of church, and that is really one thing that I want us to think about. The movie of church, how passive, even more passive we've become. And I think we've always, there's been always an element of passivity in church where we go there and we'll see what they will do. We see how the musicians will sing, the worship leaders, what they will sing. And you are either participating or you're not, or you're standing back and you criticizing, you thinking what they're doing, and you're thinking what the pastor's going to be preaching, but you just, you're peripheral, you're not getting involved too much, you're not lifting up your hands, you're not doing any of the other stuff that you think other fanatical Christians are doing. You're just standing there looking and okay, I see, I feel comfortable with this, I don't feel that comfortable with that. So I think 2021 has also been a year where your faith and expression of your faith has been something that we really had to reflect on, that we really had to think about. Now that I was responsible for my faith myself, what have I done with that? Am I as committed? Have I been as committed to really, really living out my faith? Or have I then, again, because it was outsourced from the beginning, COVID just made it worse. So now COVID has just made me to like, no, this is exactly what I was looking for. You just dial out of it, right? To like even be more passive, like I said, the movie of church. Now I'm watching other people worshiping at church because a lot of our churches went online. So you actually was the pastors preaching, but while the musicians and the worship leaders are going on, you are watching them. And as I'm saying, 18 months was a long time. So 18 months later, we are not doing the things that we used to do at the beginning. in terms of participating in worship and prayer and all the other activities. I can't say the name. Someone says that this has been a quite an advantageous year. They've studied, they've grown. So there's so much that they've done during this year. So they're very grateful. Gratitude is another big ticket item. I think we can look back and see that we haven't had a lot. We can look back and see all the things that we didn't really need in our lives. Oh my goodness, am I right there? You know what? I've had an opportunity to pack away a lot of stuff. So at some point, I looked through my wardrobes and I packed my winter clothes away and shoes and bags and all manner of things. And lo and behold, I haven't unpacked those things 18 months later. So when I get in there, I really have to do some essentialism. Yes. I said, do I really need all the stuff? And I think there was some time during COVID where we had to really think, do I really need all this stuff? Because I think we live that life of accumulating stuff, right? And then you have to maintain the stuff, and then you have to watch the stuff, and then your life becomes about the stuff. So let's see. Matepo says, I think in the beginning, when we thought the lockdown was going to be only 21 days, I was right in that category. We were connected and nicely dressed and doing church for real. But after a while, we were churching in our blankets and pajamas. Matsepo, you are just telling it like it is, girl. And I will tell you, if we are honest with ourselves, a lot of us sort of fizzled into that category. And that's why I said we would make coffee and teas while the church service is going on, and a whole lot of things would be going on. Oops, my camera keeps on moving. Yeah, so let us have a look at that. And I want us to consider, so that's one of the reflection points. I want us to think about, how am I doing church online now? Am I committed? Am I engaged? Am I participating? Am I worshiping God? Or am I going to church to think, oh, you know what, I'm doing my tick box exercise today. I just must be there. When other Christians now, when we go and have these kind of conversations, what do I say? What do I do about my worship expression? How do I do it these days? So yeah, so that's one big reflection point. And I think so we've talked about faith, we've talked about education and our children, we've talked about our own entertainment. What have we been doing during the course of our Friday nights, our Saturday nights? Because listen, don't get boring in this period. You still have to be grooving. You still have to do things that make you happy. Play your music in your house, do the pizzas with the kids, do those kind of things, because they're still important. We just have to find a different and creative way of doing these things. But as I said, one of the definite outcomes of COVID has been strengthening the family unit. But I know we also had a lot of statistics by how marriages had a lot of strain on them, because now spouses didn't have a break from each other. They were in their homes all the time together. So if you didn't have a good relationship with your spouse before COVID started, you almost felt like stuck, shall I even say trapped in your home with your spouse all the time. And I think some of us may have used work to get out of there and then, come back again, and, that dreaded syndrome of coming back home. So you can see that a lot of things, because of the proximity of people in a home, you really didn't have to get on. And I remember at the beginning, I used to have meetings with my children every morning. So we'll get up, we'll do teas and coffees and whatever, and we would have hours and hours and hours of talk time. Like there's nothing to do. So we'll do first church in the morning. So we'll do Bible study, we'll pray together, we'll have Holy Communion together, and then afterwards we're talking. So now we're talking. I want to hear about their lives. I want to talk to them about anything and everything. And some teenage topics are really, really scary. Yes, the sex topic was right in there. But as time goes on, you then have those kind of conversations, and you must now, really get used to spending so much time in proximity with one another. And that was wonderful. And I don't know how they've experienced it. They did complain some days. Some days it would be literally 7 hours. We're still in conversation, and I love it. I get my energy from that. So I wouldn't complain about that. So Candace said, I definitely simplified life. That is wonderful. I think we all could do a little bit of that. And as I said earlier, that it was a time for us to really look at, do I need all the stuff? And simplifying was really, really a good one. That was a lot of wisdom there. Threw out some unnecessary things too. Keeping it simple, uncluttered my mind, making more space for God. Yeah, Oh, that's another one. That's interesting. Uncluttering the mind and making space for God. And I think sometimes we don't see it. It's all happening in here. And I think one of the big challenges that we've heard, especially in South Africa, I'm not sure how it is in other countries, is about the mental wellness and stress that people were under. Mental stress. So those would be two big topics, because as we were staying at home, at first I didn't really. One of our friends was had a bereavement. She's in a prayer group that I'm also part of. She had a bereavement, and I think when she went through the challenges of losing a sibling, we I didn't realize myself how taxing that was until I went through it myself. Until I had a bereavement, I had my parents passing away. Now, as I was going through the motions, I'm thinking this is really cold and distant. And imagine if you live alone, you will then go home being alone. Every night you are alone. When you're in a family, at least you'll go to a family home and then you'll make some funeral arrangements with your family. But when you live alone, and I really, at some point, that really landed on me, and I really realized how much I didn't appreciate how people's lives were affected by COVID. And I remember on the radio show, I also had someone whose child was in a different country, and they were in a different country and they were stuck like that for a long time. And I was thinking, my goodness, some of us didn't, we didn't have those kind of challenges. So we don't really even appreciate really all the ramifications of COVID, lockdown, and just the challenges of health and wellness that we have been going through. So, Martin, share with us, what have you done differently during this time of COVID, lockdown? Is it in worship? Is it in the way you work? Is it in education? Having to go online with your education? So, a lot of people have taken a lot of online courses. I think at the beginning, a lot of organizations were offering a lot of free education, and people would start, and a lot of people have upskilled themselves. So, we in HR, our speak is upskill, cross skill, and multi skill. So people have taken those opportunities online to do to upskill themselves, and that's very important. So one thing I would say to you is, what we have also learned during this period is it is important to cross skill and multi skill yourself. It is very dangerous to think that if you have one skill, that skill will still be relevant 10 years from now. In fact, a lot of the facilitation work that I've done has been around the new normal and some of the trends that have come out in learning and development. Obviously, some of the trends that have come out in terms of remote working, and the different locations and how people now have to work. It has also been around how do you manage people working remotely. So if you are a manager or a supervisor responsible for people, how did you make sure that you stayed connected with them? How did you make sure that you know what's happening with them? Because just because they're working in their homes, first of all, it may not be a preference. Did you check in with them to find out? Because some spouses or some partners that were in the same home had like one bedroom, and have a small studio apartment, and they are both having to be on team or Zoom meetings. And how did they manage that? Or some of your employees would have been, or your teammates would have been in their homes with small children, and we are demanding PowerPoint presentations. We are demanding them to sit in Zoom meetings for hours and hours on end, and they have small children to look after. So there were so many ramifications and things that sometimes as managers, people lost and missed good opportunities to find out how the employees were doing. And I remember even in the organizations that I had the privilege of engaging with, that was one of the things that I insisted on. We must do check-in sessions with the employees to find out how they are doing. And when we did that, oh my goodness, a lot of data and a lot of information that we did not anticipate. People are dying. People's parents are dying. Our friends are dying around them. Challenges, people's things are getting repossessed. I haven't even touched on the issue of finances and how our financial fitness or wellness was affected by COVID. People, we had to dip into our savings. We had to pay, for example, myself, my business is in consulting and training and development. Both of those were shut down initially with a hard lockdown. Nobody's training anyone because everybody's at home. And then the second thing is nobody's consulting because they're just trying to survive. It's like, what is this COVID? How is this going to all work out? And then eventually we came to, okay, now that we have survived, the organizations were thinking, what can we do about getting training online, and people are going to stay at home, and we're not going to rush people back when we go to different lockdown levels. So that is all some of the stuff that we had to navigate during this course. So you have become someone different. You have grown, you have stretched, and I think we must give ourselves credit for just having survived this year. And as we said, because we've also had to survive and learn new ways of doing things, I think our creativity has come out more. We have collaborated. Maybe you've collaborated with people more than you ever have because you've had to work with people and connect with them differently. So the book that I was mentioning earlier, as I'm gonna about to close, is called Power Up 8, and it was written by Debbie Craig. And she is from Catalyst Consulting, and I collaborate with them quite a lot, and we do projects together. And that really has been one of those books that I will definitely say, if you have an opportunity to get your hands on it, absolutely do that. And Power Up 8 is about looking at the new competencies that people will need in the marketplace um, in order to thrive in the new normal, in order to thrive in this new world that we're living in. And it talks about us being, personal mastery in these times. How am I going to master myself during these times? And so the concept of the book is that you can do it through these 8 C's. And some of those C's, if I can mention them, are things like courage, creativity, collaboration, critical thinking. Now, courage is a big one, right? Because and change, navigating change. So there's 6 C's already. As you can see, creativity, we've all had to use creativity, whether it's about how to go out and how to, have fun during this time, creativity in how to keep your children busy, creativity in how to work and get through your schedule every day, being on so many Zoom meetings and Teams meetings and whatever other meetings you've had to be on. Um, Courage to change, navigating the fast pace of change, collaborate. How do I collaborate with people and build relationships, especially when it's now not person to person? How do you build trust with someone you haven't met before? How do you have business partnerships with people that you've just met online, and with all the other risks that you have to think about and compliance issues that you have to think about? So that is a great book, and I have facilitated some sessions around the concept of the 8 C's, and I must say that is really highly recommended. So I'm definitely going to get into another. There's a course on it, and I'm going to get into that. So this is not a an advert, but I'm just saying these are some of the things that I looked at, and I'm saying this is how I during this 2021 have become. I look at that and I'm thinking I've definitely upped my change. I change quicker now than I used to. I embrace change quicker than I used to. I have to be more courageous about it, and I think I have been a little bit more courageous about here I am on social media. And when before I was very, I don't know how I feel about being always visible on social media. I had to be courageous about that. We talked about collaboration. I've had to collaborate with people, and yeah, just be out there and doing things and connecting differently. Oh wow, Candace, interesting, very interesting, very interesting. Small world, and that's what the lockdown has done as well. Global village. All our businesses now, when your business is online, your business is global. It's got visibility, in most places. So sometimes people were dreaming about, I want to take my business here and I want to do this with my business. There you go. Go online with your business, and you can give your business exposure and your products and services exposure to so many people at once without incurring the cost of wholesale and building barns and building bigger barns and stocking up and having all the stock there. There's a different way of doing business. So that is almost where we're going to stop the conversation tonight. I'm just talking about, so what are you doing as you are going on holiday? What are you planning? We know Candace is on the way to Canada. Tomorrow I'm out of town. And I was just driving back with my mom right now, and I was saying to her, this is the beauty of Joburg. Everybody has left. So there's no traffic on the roads. You drive to restaurants, you don't queue up. And if you haven't seen Joburg during Christmas time, you haven't seen the best of Joburg. Because all the crazy stuff that we do, how wildly we drive, and how pressured we are, how impatient we are on the roads, that happens when we're all on the road. But at Christmas time, that's when everybody's left. They've gone to the coastal towns. They're sitting there overlooking the oceans in Durban, in Cape Town, in East London, PE, all those coastal areas. And here we are in Joburg enjoying the city. Yeah. So what are you doing for Christmas? When are you leaving? When are you closing the laptop? right? I closed my laptop, I think around midday, really, really finally. Whilst I wanted to do that last week, I was always thinking I need to get off my laptop or else. And I think I also almost gave it to myself as that is a reward to myself. The earlier I can get out of it, the better I'll feel about myself. And I didn't until today. So today I'm thinking last invoice out, that's it. And I hope the client pays me so that I can go and have a lekker holiday wherever I'm going. Just sit back, relax, and get all those out of office notifications out there. So guys, don't forget to get those. I'm out of office. Don't call me. I won't call you. I am in fact, I'm in a zone where there is no connectivity. So don't even email me because I know somebody's going to email you. I will send her your regards. Absolutely, Candace. I will tell Debbie. And she's also going to like, really? Yes, I'll definitely let her know. In fact, I was at the end of year function with her last week. Matep was still looking for a small beach farmhouse to house it. Somebody out there, I see you've all seen the movie. I hope you've seen the movie where you are doing house sitting for someone. So you just, in fact, I can't remember what the movie's called, but you swap houses. So somebody goes to your city house, your nice house, and you go to the nice beach house, and you don't really have to incur all the costs because you just go and house it for one another. So Matsepo is looking for somebody out there to house it, a nice, beautiful, small beach house overlooking the ocean. So let's see, let's see who's going to get in touch with you there, Matsepo. And Matapelo closing the laptop on Friday, looking forward to rest. What date is Friday, Matapelo, if you're only closing the laptop on Friday? Let's see, Friday is the 24th. I don't think I'm giving you any brownie points for that because that is when the turkey should already be marinating or something. When the kids are already losing their minds about the Christmas gifts. And what else happens on the 24th? I remember there was one year. I may have been married 1 or 2 years into it, and I was working. And in London again, it's the same thing. You will work until the 24th, until like 8 o'clock at night. You are at work, literally. And I remember I ran to Oxford and I was literally begging to get into the stores to just buy a gift because I didn't even have a gift. And it was the evening of the 24th. Lo and behold, am I going to be that person on Christmas Day that hasn't got a gift to give? Really? So I hope that you are shutting down Matapelo earlier so that you can get your gifts if that's what you're going to do, so that you can shut down and relax a little bit and not get on Christmas morning and you're tired and you've just signed off of work. So yeah, so what are we doing? What are some of those Christmas traditions? Are you doing the Christmas traditional thing, or are you falling into the trap of commercializing Christmas? I can't end this. I can't end this broadcast without talking about the commercialization of Christmas, where it's all about buying gifts, it's all about drinking, it's all about spending money, and it's all about the January blues. So I think this time of COVID, maybe it's also given us an opportunity. We talked about reflecting and taking moments of reflection about this year. So maybe this is an opportunity for us to think about, how do I spend Christmas? What is Christmas about for me? And I put a poster out this week that says, Jesus is the reason for the season. Drop the mic right there. Have you considered that? Why are we celebrating Christmas? Why is the whole world celebrating Christmas? Yes, maybe there is more to this Jesus that people are talking about. And while some people want to just, leave it in that category of it's a fairy tale, but Jesus was here. And that is why we're celebrating his birth. And so this time, it is also for us to reflect on what is the reason for the season? What is the reason if we're giving gifts to one another, then let us understand what is the gift giving about? What does it signify? Why is it important? Why did people give gifts at the beginning? Why did the wise men who went to see Jesus, why were they carrying gifts? What were they saying? How did they acknowledge him as the king? How did this all come about? So maybe it's time to investigate some of those Christmas traditions so you actually know where they come from. And at the same time, maybe it's time to ditch some of those commercialized Christmas traditions as well, where it's all about making money for all those retailers out there just waiting to dig as deep into our pockets as possible and let us all forget about why we're even having Christmas. And it's all about eating, drinking, and spending more money. So I'm going to say, I'm encouraging you to take time out to rest. Really, really rest. 2021 has been the year where we have experienced the most. We have lost a lot of loved ones this year. I know you know about me, and some of you have shared about yourselves. So we've lost a lot of people. So I think it's also time to reflect and really just to celebrate their lives when they were with us. Maybe this year would be your first year without them at Christmas time. And then it's time to spend with family. Let's really dial into our families, spend time with them. And as I said, I was talking about building community in the area of family, having unity in diversity. So your siblings, those family members that you don't get on well with, maybe you need to do something different this year to spend a little bit more time to get to know them, to get to know why are they sandpapering you like that. And that's what I call it, relationship that just sandpaper me. But I want to take the opportunity this year to, through this growth, through me becoming, through my journey this year, how can I extend the love of God through this Christmas period, right? And if we don't do it at Christmas time, I'm certainly not going to do it in the thick of June out of the clear blue sky. So I think this is a wonderful opportunity for us to do that. And then give yourself time to rest. Absolute downtime where you tell your family, you know what, I need so many days during this holiday. 2, 3, 5 days, I don't know how many days it is, where you can really just dial it down, and really just think about what you've been through this year and what you're going through next year and what you believe God wants you to do. What do you think is the mission for next year? What is the vision? What is the dream? Have you forgotten your dreams? Where is the vision board? What are the things that you've wanted to achieve? And how can you dust that off? And what pieces do you want to really, park that forever? And what pieces do you need to carry forward? What relationships have you had? What do you get out of those relationships? And really just reflect on that and make some people would do journaling around it. Some people would write a letter. Some people would do just many interesting things just to give yourself time to really reflect on some of the relationships around us, because relationships are very, very important. I mean, the people in our lives are very important. And as I said earlier, I've realized during COVID, there's a lot of things that I don't need in my life. All the stuff that I used to work for and the treadmill kind of jobs, 14, 16-hour jobs a day, I can do without a lot of that stuff. And I have done without a lot of that stuff. And I'm grateful for the person I've become as a result of that. All the handbags I've had, about maybe some of them have come out now, 60% of them are wherever they are. Right. And the shoes, oh no, let's not even talk about the shoes, because I had rows and rows of shoes and they are wherever they are. Right. So this has given me an opportunity to see, but Prudence, what was that really about? What is the bags and the shoes and the clothing and the stuff? What was it all about? And it's given me then time to reflect on that. And I am happy to say, I am released from all that stuff. And now I can enjoy it. And sometimes I stumble upon something in my wardrobe that has still got a price tag on. And I say to myself, can you see? It's still got a price tag on. And I would have bought it like 2 years ago, because I haven't really done much shopping in COVID in this time of you buying clothes to where to your home study, to your home office, to your online training. Is that what you're doing? So clearly there's a different way that we can do things and we can be more wiser. And I'd be happy to rather spend my money on missions than to spend it on just another pair of shoes, another bag. But let's also spoil ourselves. You deserve it. We deserve it. And I think there's also another element of our lives where God wants us. It says God has given us life to enjoy. So we must enjoy it. So we can't just always be laboring under this. Christianity is all about, being miserable and wearing long dresses. And, it's not about that. It's also about enjoying life. And God wants us to enjoy life. So Martin says this is something to really think about to help the community as a whole. Absolutely. So I want us to go away as we are chillaxing, as we're having pink drinks. And I'm going to see, am I going to have some blue drinks, pink drinks? Am I going to a pink drink? Pink is my signature color, so I'll always pick on that. So yes, as we're going out during this Christmas period, what is it that we're reflecting on? What is it that we're doing with our time? How we're interacting with our family? What are we giving ourselves permission to do? and looking back on this journey, what is it that we are taking? Remember, our hashtag this time is hashtag finish strong 2021. So in order to finish strong is going to help us to start strong in 2022. So even as we're ending the year, when we are going to be toasting on that New Year's evening, what are you planning for New Year's? Where are you spending your New Year's? Most of us are spending it in church for that crossover service. Is it going to be different this year? Are we going to have crossover services? It depends on where we are and what the church is doing. But what are you also planning in advance for? Lord, this is how I want to go into the new year. And God has got big plans for us, absolutely big plans for us. So I'm excited. I know my traveling schedule, my mission schedule is going to start early in the year, because I've had to postpone a couple of trips at the end of this year because of Omicron. Did I say that? Okay, swiftly moving along. So I'm looking forward to what God will do in this new year, what He will do in my family, with my children, what He will do at the International Marketplace Summit, what He will do with our audiences, each and every one of you in the marketplace that has come alongside us. The four is for the 4 I's. Our 4 is to equip, establish, empower, and enable you to thrive in the marketplace. And we want to inspire you in the marketplace. We want to make sure that as you are in the marketplace, you've got all the tools, all the tricks, all the treasures, in order for you to thrive in your marketplace. And then as you go out there, we want you to be inspired to create impact. Impact is important. We're not doing things just because we're doing things, but we want to see impact. We want to see lives transformed. We want to see people moving from one level to another level here at the International Marketplace Summit. So watch this space. You're going to hear exciting things. I talked to you about the mentorship program that we're launching. There's many other things, because we don't want to just be a talk shop. We want to also bring the solutions that are going to be needed for people to thrive in the marketplace. So that is where I'm going to sign off today. This is Prudence, your host, your marketplace motivator, always talking to you about winning in the marketplace. So go out there. Merry Christmas. Have a wonderful, wonderful Christmas. And we are going to be talking again next week. Watch out for our notifications. Enjoy your evening.